Okay, so as promised, we're doing that yearly follow-up, that annual follow-up chore. We're going to talk a little bit about that right now. So your yearly follow-up, what is that? Well, it acts quite different than your weekly or monthly follow-ups, which we covered in another video on this channel earlier. So what we're going to be doing for this, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to develop 2 or 3 draft emails for our annual follow-up communications in particular. Like for myself, one draft email is going to be short, and it's meant really just to show appreciation for the past networking activities, media coverage project that we've worked on together in the past, and to invite continued networking and collaboration in the future as well. I'm going to wish them like a happy new year, wish them well for the year ahead, that kind of thing. In that email, that draft email, I'm going to use it, I'm going to tweak it, right? So whoever I'm talking to, that when I'm doing that with that particular draft email, I'm going to say like, oh, I'm thanking you for this media coverage on November 1st. So November 1st is going to be hyperlinked to that podcast interview, let's say, so that the person that I'm writing to never has to work for anything. They're like, who is this Lillian person? She sounds familiar. Who was it again? They click on a hyperlink. Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember her now, right? Without having to go search through the records or click on other things or have it, oh, I'll look at this later because, now I got to look at my records and search this. I don't have time right now. You want it to be really super easy for people with your follow-up letters. So yeah, my one draft email is going to be really short, sweet. Thank you. Let's continue working together. Okay. The second one is tweaked for each recipient. So this one is going to be a draft where like a follow-up. I'm saying to them, hey, I'm doing my follow-up for 2022 conversations. I see from my records, this is where we were at. And you follow up on that, whatever it is. Hey, we were looking at having you on the blog. If you remember correctly, we met back in the Women's Prosperity Networking group back in May. We had a chat in June. We were talking about doing some networking. You were excited about the opportunity to come on our blog, but hey, we never followed up on that. Would you like to do this, that, and the other thing? So we're having this conversation, right? But I would have a draft email put together with all of my basic information. My hyperlinks are basically there, networking with us, and various things are hyperlinked to the pages that pertain to that. And then I just tweak that email according to that person that I've had a positive interaction with, but there's something to follow up on. Okay. Now the other draft email I'm going to create, so that's 3 letters now that I've created in my draft inbox. And the other draft email is geared to all those cold call activities, all those doors I've knocked on, but haven't yet had a response from. No response at all. So what I'm doing is I'm following up on those initial contacts, and I'm re-knocking on those doors. I've already done all the work to find their information, to learn about them. I'm going to knock on that door one more time. So how I do that is I just say something along the lines of, I reached out to you December 10th after seeing your podcast through Monty's website. Okay. So I give them a little backstory. And then I'm going to say to them, hey, I would really like to be a guest on your show. Maybe you would also benefit from this or that I can offer you as well. And just in case my information was lost in the busyness of life and the holiday seasons, I thought I'd reach out just one more time to see if you're interested in working with us. Simple email, right? So as I'm going through my spreadsheet of the people I've connected with and interact with and, networked with in some way, collaborated on a fundraiser or whatever that we've done that year, I'm going to be reaching out to them, and I'll have these 3 very nicely worded emails to just copy paste in there. And then I, of course, tweak it so that it's addressing that individual directly and recapping the various interactions that we've had, again, so they don't have to look through their records and find out who is this person, what are we doing, what's going on. so they know exactly what's going on. And because I keep these brief records on a spreadsheet telling me what I talked about with them, where we were left at in our conversation, I can make sure that I can hyperlink to all of these things. I can recap really easily without spending a huge amount of time, tweaking and rewriting each one of these emails. I just quick glance at my spreadsheet, enter a few tweaks, off the email goes. Okay. So it goes a lot quicker than it sounds like it goes. But having those draft emails and your spreadsheet really does help in doing that. Now, I usually start these year-end activities. I think I mentioned this already, around the 10th of January. And really that gives people a chance to brush off those cobwebs from the holiday season, and they're settled back into that office and they're ready to get that email from me. And, because I'm doing this in between other activities in my business, I'm going to have to schedule just a certain amount of time, an hour or two every day, until all of those interactions are followed up on, even if it takes me 17 or 30 days, whatever it takes for me to get that completed. You do it slowly, a little bit every day. It doesn't seem so overwhelming. It sound like a lot of work. I suppose it depends on how you look at it. I mean, for me, I've already built that spreadsheet filled up with all of these contacts that I worked really hard to find. I worked really hard to learn about them, to research them, to learn their contact information, to knock on those doors. And then I'm just going to walk away from that gold mine, all that work that I did last year, and I'm just going to walk out without one more try, one more connection. That seems to me like such a waste and a really silly thing to do. So I'm just, sending out just one more email is really not that hard to do. Now the results. So what's the result? Okay, well, this year I can tell you, this is my 17th day. I just finished doing my follow-ups. Now, a lot of people are going to be on holidays. A lot of people won't be in their office. Some people don't have the time in their schedule to deal with your email right away. Maybe they want to take some time to look at all the links that you sent them or the information that you sent them. And so they're going to take some time getting back to you. Not everyone's going to be an immediate response. I've had people respond, up to 3 months after, initially doing the follow-up conversation with them at the year end. So be patient with the process. But in the 17 days of doing this follow-up activity this year, I have had somewhere around 150 responses of the 700 and something that I've sent out. Positive responses. These are people that, I know they're still active, their emails are still alive. They've responded to me directly from that. And these are people who have taken time to find out, who we are. They've, followed up some of those links I've sent them in that letter, and they're bringing up the readership on my YouTube, and they're subscribing to my YouTube channel or my blogs or whatever. And so all of these numbers are all climbing right now. I'm watching them climb, all those stats, because I think of the follow-up activity. Also, by making sure that we haven't lost contact, we're finding out that, hey, 150 of the contacts immediately jumped on board and wanted to do some networking or some other activity in 2023. So that's pretty good when you think of it, an immediate reaction of like what, maybe 30% return on investment when you look at how many I sent out and how many I got back. But that's just the start of it. 3 months later, they're still going to be trickling in for the next 3 months or so, as people, have the time to discover the email and browse all our links and think about what they're going to do, and maybe bring it to their staff room or their coworker and see how they want to collaborate on, what kind of things they might want to talk about with me. There's a lot of things that they're doing behind the scenes. Maybe they're on holiday and they're just going to come back, a month from after I send the email, so you never know what's going on in their schedule. So expect that trickle in effect, expect your results to get higher. Definitely worth doing. 150 right away, starting out January 2023 with 150 networking and collaborating and media events and various activities. They're going to be on my blog. I'm going to be on theirs, whatever. All these different activities are happening here, there, and the other place. 150 of them starting out the year. That's a good start for the year, don't you think? Now, I'm going to start a new spreadsheet every year. Really easy to do. You just tell your spreadsheet service, like your program, I guess, Excel is what I use. So you just tell your program, I want to start, copy last year's spreadsheet, delete all the data in the cells, except for your header line, where the tells you what's in each column, date, name, all that. So leave that line, but then delete all the contacts and all the color coding that you might have used. And you rename your spreadsheet and off you go. It's all ready to go. Just click, click, done, and you've got a spreadsheet. So you reuse the same spreadsheet that you've used for decades to come. It's just that every year you clear that data. Make sure you copy and clear the data so that you're not erasing your spreadsheets from the previous years. You always want to be able to refer to them in case someone from a couple of years ago contacts you, you haven't heard from them in a while, they didn't respond to the follow-up, but now they are. They're like, hey, remember me from a couple of years ago? So you can look back in your records and, oh yeah, I remember, So it's really good to keep those records in your files as well for that back data that's going to be happening. So again, it's really worth doing these follow-up activities. We covered weekly and monthly and briefly about yearly in another video. This video, we went a lot more in depth into yearly. I hope this helps you with your annual business chores. Thank you everyone for dropping in today at the Brummett Media YouTube channel.